Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
Tonight we're talking about Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 18, Episode 10.
So when I text you this morning, I'm sorry, I went to Peacock, Real Housewives of Orange County on Peacock, and it came up Episode 10. So I start watching it, and I'm like, what? I've seen this before. And then I text you, and as I kept watching, I realized I didn't. This is what's bothering me, though. I'm seeing big portions of the episode like on Instagram posts. And that's what must have been what happened.
Yeah, I think that is happening a lot because I noticed it was happening with Jersey also when we were watching Jersey.
Who's leaking these? So people are still leaking. What do they call them? The screeners or whatever. Yeah.
No, if they're leaking them or if they're hitting in other platforms like other countries, because there is one specific, and I can't remember what it's called, but there is one thing on Instagram where they kind of run like long reels and it'll run the whole reel. And I'm like, that's how it's broadcast in other countries. Because I'm like, how are they doing this? Like, how are they running these reels? Because they're copyrighted. But that's how it's I can't remember what it's called. I don't know.
It's annoying, though, because then I think I've watched the episode. And then I'm like, oh, shit, I didn't watch the episode.
Yeah, it is 100% annoying. So in this one, we pick up where we left off, which was with Shannon over at Heather's like little bungalow there. And she was showing the picture of John that she sent to John Jansen of her after the accident and the blood on her face.
Yeah.
And I will say at that time, Heather was very kind and sweet to her. And
yeah.
Shannon's like, I don't think I can go to dinner. I've been crying all day. No, Heather's like, no. You have your dress. Come over here. I've got my glam. We'll get you all looking good, which I like that she did that. I like that she was like, no, you're not going to stay in and cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we see that Katie tells Jen that Gina mentioned the video. And Jen is like, oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Emily goes over to Alexis's to let her know that the video came up and, that Shannon was shaking and she was crying and she was visibly upset. She went over there to tell her, just like, go easy on Shannon when you see her.
And Alexis gets upset that Gina brought up the video. What are you upset about? You can't shut your mouth about it. You can't stop talking about it. Her friends are telling her because you keep saying it behind her back.
Right.
Exactly. If you don't want it out, stop talking about it.
Right. And then Emily even goes on to say, like, I feel sorry for Shannon. And Alexis, then she gets like even crazier. She's like, there's two sides to every story. Why is everyone feeling sorry for Shannon?
Right.
Because really, you're not a part of it. It's not your story to tell. It's Shannon's story. It's not your story. And then we see Tamra and Shannon and Heather are at the bar. They're getting a drink before dinner. And once again, Tamra has to give her shade for getting a drink.
Oh, yeah. Tamra just needs to shut the fuck up about Shannon drinking. Just stop it and stop commenting every time she orders a drink. She's going to order a drink.
Yeah. I mean, and if she ever needed a drink, that was the day she needed a drink.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. And at that point, Tamra didn't even know what was going on. I can't with her. I seriously can't. Then Alexis is sick of everyone taking Shannon's side. And why would she, bring this was what she said that killed me. Why would she bring it up at the charity event weekend? Well, she didn't bring it up. It's when it happened. It's when the deadline was that John Jansen gave her.
Exactly.
Seriously? She didn't bring it up.
Right.
It's when the deadline was.
Right. And she wasn't really talking about it. She was just upset. And they were in the spa room. And, if that were me, God forbid, it's all I could think about. I couldn't get that out of my head.
Mm-hmm. I was like, what is wrong with her? Seriously, what is wrong with her?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Alexis decides, well, if she's that vulnerable, then I shouldn't go to dinner, which was a great decision. It was a great decision. So then at the dinner, they find out that Alexis isn't coming. And Tamra jumps in again, and she's like giving Shannon a hard time. And she's like, I feel like Alexis needs to be supported just as much as Shannon does. Why? Right. You've been friends with Shannon for how many years?
Yeah.
You just became friends with Alexis again. And why is somebody jumping on? No one's jumping on Alexis. Alexis is jumping on Shannon.
Right. Right.
So then Shannon is telling Jen what happened. Like, she steps away from the table and she's telling Jen what happened. And she's getting really loud. And the other ladies are still sitting at the table. And they're like, Heather's like, what's going on? Like, I hope they're not like this at my event tomorrow.
Yeah. By the way, Heather, you invited both of them here. So if they are like that at the event tomorrow, it's your own damn fault. And I understand you have a bond with Alexis because of your children's, gender identity issues, or what, I don't want to call it an issue, but you know what I mean, situation.
Right.
But then you shouldn't have invited Shannon. If you don't want drama, then don't have the two of them together, because right now that's going to create drama.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, Shannon's a full-time housewife. Alexis is a part-time housewife. So
a friend of.
Yes, exactly.
And I make sure I write that every post about her.
You do? That's so funny.
And I never call him by his name. I just say her. Shannon's ex.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And then she says to Jen, she's like, she's so funny. I will never, ever be in the same room with her again. Then she says, I mean, except for tomorrow.
It was funny.
It was so funny how she did it too. Like, that's just, she's just like, that's it, never, ever. Oh, well, tomorrow.
Right.
And then she goes back to the table and she asks if we can have a night where we don't talk about John and Alexis. And they all agree. And then Shannon tells them that she offered to pay him everything. And he refused to sign the non-disparagement agreement, which is what we've known this for a long time now.
Yep. And he said it again on Watch What Happens Live last night. So it's still not settled.
No.
What an asshole.
Yep.
All right. We're going to get to Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah, we are going to get there.
I have a strong feeling about that.
Yeah. So then the day of the event.
Well, wait a minute. Can we not gloss over the fact that Tamra apparently stuck her finger in Emily's ass the night before when they got drunk?
Well, yeah.
How about you not get drunk and put your finger in somebody's butt? Because I've gotten drunk and I've never done that. And he's like, thank God.
I've never done that
because we would never drink together again. But for crying out loud, I don't know I've gotten drunk with many people in my lifetime. I don't know one fucking person who's done that.
I don't even know what the context is. Like, how does that even happen?
They showed the video. Emily was like laying on
a table, right?
I mean, stop drinking Tamra, because that's assault, quite honestly. So you might want to rethink your drinking.
Well, maybe Heather liked it.
On Shannon.
I mean, maybe
Emily.
Heather. Oh my God, could you imagine if that was?
No. I
meant Emily. Maybe Emily liked it. Maybe she asked her to do it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, do we know what the context of it? Like, I saw her on the table and I know that they were drunk, but like, how does that happen?
I don't know. No idea. I don't want to know.
No, I don't either. So then the next day, Alexis goes over to Heather's and, Heather's like, yeah, we missed you last night. And that's when she tells them about the incident that happened. Alexis says, I think it was a good thing that I didn't go.
We agree.
Yeah, 100%. And Heather's like, we're going to split up the two groups today. Like, maybe we just, split it up. Then we find out Shannon isn't feeling well. I really thought she wasn't going to show up. I was surprised to see that she showed up.
I was too. Now, people online, I will say, I have seen on social media people saying like that she is showing signs of somebody with a drinking problem.
Really?
I've seen that in posts. Like, people were like, I grew up with alcoholic parents and, waking up at 12 noon the night after a binge. Personally, I think that Bravo is so dirty that if Shannon were that drunk to be that hungover to be waking up at noon, she would have exhibited some behavior the night before that Bravo would have shown.
Yeah, because we didn't see her at all.
Nope. Unless she just went back to the room and drank by herself, but...
Yeah, but they didn't even show us. The only part of that night before we saw was that one scene.
Yep.
Which, yeah.
So I'm just saying those were the comments on social media. But, listen, I sleep late when I don't have to wake up early.
Yeah.
And I've drank, whatever.
Yeah. Me too. Then Katie and Jen are talking, and Katie's saying that she wants to talk to Heather and let her know that it was Gina that told her to tell Heather.
She said the story was forced on her. I'm saying repeating the story was forced on her. Those were her words.
Right, that Gina forced her to tell Heather. But really what Gina was saying is, if you don't tell Heather, I'm going to tell her.
Exactly.
That's what she said. That wasn't forcing her. She was just coming out and saying, if you don't tell Heather, I'm going to tell her.
Right, because at some point Heather was going to know that Katie had these text messages. And then Heather's going to also know that Gina knew that Katie had the text messages. So
right.
to save herself. I remember that clearly. Gina saying, if you don't tell her, I'm going to tell her. Those were her words.
I remember that too. And Jen is kind of telling her, like, don't bring it up. But for whatever reason, Katie just can't let it go.
She should let it go.
She really should. So then Gina, Emily, and Tamra, they are all supporting Shannon. And I don't know why I wrote that. Alexis lets the girls know she feels bad. Okay, so that's why I wrote that. So Heather, Jen, and Katie are doing the sound bath, and Shannon's supposed to be going to the sound bath, and she shows up late. And then when she gets there, she's like, I didn't have a brush, and her hair is a disaster. And then she's laying down, face down, and then she's coughing.
Oh, the coughing. The coughing was horrible.
Oh, my God, the coughing.
Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible.
And then when they end the sound bath, they're drinking the stress ease tea. I don't think that helped anybody, but
I think they were going to need a lot more cups of the stress tea.
So then Tamra, Emily, Gina, and Alexis, they go off and they're making biscuits. And that's when Alexis says to the girls, like, listen, I know that you guys are in the middle of this, which I was glad that she did not acknowledge that, you know, because it needed to be acknowledged. I mean, really, she didn't have anybody there that was on her side, to be honest with you. So she had to say something. And, you know, they said, we appreciate that. They're going to, just because they're there for Shannon doesn't mean that they, you know, hate her. But they're going to support Shannon. And I think that that's what needs to happen, you know?
Yeah. But and she also says that she wants to coexist. You can't you can't say you want to coexist with somebody and then keep threatening them. Threatening to release videos of them. Because I'm not going to coexist with anybody who threatens me. Ever. And I haven't. Like,
no.
I've gone years without talking to people because of threats. I'm fine with it.
I get it. And then Gina and Emily tell Tamra that she's not supporting Shannon at all. And Tamra, once again, like, gets defensive. She's not supporting Shannon. She's not.
She's being horrible to her.
She's being horrible to her. And she's being horrible to Gina. And she's trying to make trouble where there isn't trouble. And we'll get to that, too, because that was another scene that really aggravated me. Jen says, I want to talk to you to Heather. And Heather's like, listen.
Katie.
That's what I meant, Katie. Katie says that I want to talk to you. And Heather says, listen, we're going backwards. We've already had this conversation. I invited you here. Like, we're not having this conversation. Are you okay?
To be honest with you. I think that it clearly shows that Heather is lying the way she won't even let Katie speak.
I don't think.
With that said, we're beating a dead horse here.
That's it.
Enough.
That's what I think. That's what it is. And listen, I like the way that Heather shuts it down.
Yeah.
I like the way that she shuts it down. I like it. She's like, listen, we're going backwards. We've already squashed this. I've invited you to this event. Why are we revisiting it?
I mean, in the nature of Housewives shows, this is what they do. They bring it up. I mean, look at Jersey. But I do think that it makes Heather look more guilty the way she handles it. But I'm also with you. I'm glad she does, because I can't hear about it anymore, Katie. I can't hear about it anymore.
But thanks to Tamra.
Every time I start to like you, then you bring this up again, and it's like, oh, my God.
Yeah. So then we get to the day of the event, and they're doing, I didn't realize it was a whole fashion show and that she came out with a line of clothing, her and Susan Bender, for basics.
Yeah.
And that all the proceeds from the launch of it are going to go to the family equality, which is very nice. It's very nice. And, you know, the clothes that they were modeling and the clothes that they had on are basics. I mean, everyone has a black pants, white shirt, jeans, white shirt, black dress. Like, everyone has those things in their closet. I don't really know why we need a line of those things, to be quite honest with you. But whatever. You know what? If you got the money. Yeah, exactly. You got the money. Go ahead. Go do it.
It's just something for rich people to spend their money on.
Yeah.
And hopefully support a cause at the same time.
Yeah. It's funny because I saw the picture of them all together at the end on the runway show, and I thought to myself, why is Emily wearing jeans? It looked odd to me in that picture. That was the first thing I saw before I knew what the episode was about, but I did see that picture. And then Emily goes on to say that Heather told her to bring jeans, and she felt a way about it, and I don't blame her at all. I felt a way about it too. I mean,
me too.
Her arms, she was she's self-conscious about her arms. She has Alexis and her wearing the same dress.
Why would she put Emily and Alexis in the same dress. Because the only reason you would do that is to show people, like, look, a really thin person can wear this dress, and a bigger girl can wear this dress. That's the only reason you would do that. And that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's not nice.
I really don't think, because we're going to see that there's a fight about this.
Because Heather won't acknowledge that she was wrong, and she was.
I don't think she had malice intent when she did that. I don't think she thought about it. Never.
No, I agree with that, but she should admit she's wrong, and she doesn't.
She should definitely admit she's wrong. She definitely should. I don't think that there was malice when it was said, and Emily's entitled to feel the way she feels about it, and I don't blame her. I would feel the exact same way.
Yes,
and
me too.
I'm team Emily on this, even though I do like fancy pants. She was wrong.
Yeah.
She was wrong, and I get it. She doesn't know the struggle. She's never had the struggle.
Honestly, she totally. Why would you tell her to wear jeans?
Pair of black pants or a black skirt.
Unless, here's the thing though, maybe she did just want to show the white shirt with a pair of jeans, but explain that to Emily. Don't just send her a text and say, oh, by the way, bring a pair of jeans. Say to her, listen, I got 5 other women wearing black pants with this white shirt. I need you, because you look great in jeans. I need you to wear jeans so I can show the white shirt with a pair of jeans. Say that.
Or maybe have someone else wear jeans too, so she's not the only one wearing jeans in the picture.
100%. That's even better. 100%.
Right?
I mean, this is your friend. Like, come on.
Yeah. No,
it's not a good look.
It bothered me too. And like I said, that was the first thing I noticed when I saw that picture. And then when I heard the story with it, I was like, oh. Yeah. Honestly, it broke my heart.
It broke my heart. Me too.
It broke my heart.
I don't think she did anything on purpose, Heather. But I do think she has to admit that she was wrong, and I don't think she does.
Yeah.
I mean, Emily clearly has body issues.
Yeah, and you know what? She looks great. She looks great. She looks great.
Probably, I mean, listen, we had this conversation about, how they look, because we've met the Jersey Housewives. They're so much thinner in person than they even look on TV, and they look thin on TV. So imagine how tiny Emily really is.
Right.
But, you don't see that on camera.
I know, like Emily's calling herself a plus size model. Meanwhile, I bet you she's not even like a 10 or a 12.
I was just going to say, I guarantee you she's between a 6 and an 8.
Yeah.
And that is not plus size.
No, just because she's not a 0 or a 2.
Exactly.
If you're not a 0 or a 2.
Right. I wouldn't think she was any more than an 8. And in person, that looks a lot smaller than on TV.
100%. And she's a tall girl.
Yeah.
She's a tall girl.
Like when I look at her, I'm like, oh, that, I look a lot bigger in pictures because I'm not a size 8, but.
You do not.
I do. I hate pictures of myself. But anyway, Emily looks amazing, and she's working very hard. So it's sad to see her still struggle despite how great she looks.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with that. And then we see Heather and Tamra are talking, and Heather says to Tamra that Katie wanted to talk to her about, in front of all the girls, about the Gina thing, and Heather shuts it down. And then Tamra has to be Tamra and say, you're not giving her any grace. Tamra says, I see someone who was set up and hung out to dry. She says, Gina is behind all of this. Like, you are the one who is setting up someone and hanging them out to dry. And you are doing that to Gina. That is what you are doing.
Yep.
That is not what Gina did. That is what you are doing. You are inserting yourself in something that has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with you. Don't say that you're friends with Katie and you really are protecting Katie. You are just trying to shade Gina and cause a rift between her and Heather.
Yes. And Tamra thinks that this is what she has to do as a housewife. Yeah. She really does, because she got fired once. She's so petrified to get fired again, because this is clearly her only source of happiness, is being on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And she thinks that this is what she has to do to keep her job. And quite honestly, the bad behavior does get, rewarded.
Yeah, but you know what? I really don't like it when you're trying to, first of all, what she's saying isn't even true.
Right.
It's not true. What she's saying is not true. You are causing problems where there don't need to be problems, just like you're doing with Shannon and Alexis. You're doing the exact same thing with Gina and Heather and Katie.
Yeah.
Keep your nose out of it. Just keep your nose out of it.
She's got no storyline, though. Nobody in her family will film with her. She has to get involved with everybody else's life because Eddie doesn't want to be on the show. Her kids clearly want nothing. Even the one who is filming clearly doesn't want to be on it. The people in her life can't stand her. Her mother's not even on it anymore with her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's got nobody. She's got no choice but to get involved in everybody else's business.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
So then she goes on to say that Heather's letting Gina off the hook too easily. Gina said, I keep Heather close because she has rich friends and needs that for real estate. That Katie told her that.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either. And Heather tells Gina, all right, we need to talk tomorrow. I'm going to, get to the bottom of this. And also tells Katie, like, I'm sorry that I kind of brushed you off. I will talk to you tomorrow. And in the morning, we see that Emily and Gina are talking, and Gina's very upset about the whole Travis situation. And this has been this whole season. She's been upset about Travis and the whole situation with Katie and Heather. And it's all coming down hard on her. And she takes it personally, as she, I get it. I would too.
Yeah.
She's trying to do the best that she can do and hold everything together.
Yeah.
And people are trying to take her down for no reason.
Yeah. Yes.
For no reason. So then at the table, when they're all sitting there, Gina brings it up. And Heather's like, oh, we're doing this now? And she's like, yeah, we're doing this now. And she says to Katie, like, what is going on here? And she's like, well, you're telling people that, you lied to you, that you're lying. And she's like, well, you are lying. What you said isn't true. And then Heather says, well, I found out new information. The new information is that Katie said that you keep me around for real estate deals because I have rich friends. And Gina's like, you could tell by Gina's reaction. There's no way she would have said that.
Right.
First of all, there's no way she would have said that.
I really don't think she would either. Quite honestly, listen, there's a chance she said it.
No.
If she was going to say it, she might have said it to Emily, where Emily would never repeat it. I don't ever see her saying it to anybody on the cast. Like, I just don't. She's not that stupid.
She's not that stupid. And she knows that Heather's friends with the Altmans. And that's her realtor.
That's who she works for?
No, she doesn't work for them. And that's what Katie said. You wanted to get a job with the Altmans.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't work for the Altmans.
And hey, by the way, why wouldn't she want to? They're in Orange County now.
Right. And
why wouldn't she?
Right. And I don't think she would need Heather to get a job working for the Altmans.
She wouldn't.
I mean, maybe Heather's son, Nick, needs Heather to get a job working for the Altmans because he's,
right.
19 years old or 20 years old.
Right.
But I don't think Gina would.
No, I don't either.
And then even after all that, and Heather at the end of the table says, I believe Gina. I don't think, because that's not what I was told.
Right.
And then Tamra once again jumps in and says, well, Gina, you're so defensive. It makes you look guilty.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of agree with Tamra at that point. I do think that Gina came on really, really strong with Katie in her convictions, but she also then broke down about Travis.
Well, that's the thing, is she had so much going on. She was very emotional.
But at first I was like, I don't know if this reaction, if what they're saying warrants this reaction, but I can fly off the handle too. So, but when she started talking about Travis, I'm like, okay. Even Shannon, like, rolling out of bed at 12 o'clock that day, like, after the emotional roller coaster she was on the day before with the court, and whether she drank or not, she probably really needed to sleep until noon that day.
Like, she's going through a lot. Gina's going through a lot.
Yeah.
And you don't need the people that are supposed to be your friends, even if it is on the show, to be trying to tear you down.
Yeah, but that's what this has become, and it's so frustrating.
It really is. It really is.
It's just not enjoyable to watch.
Why are you not drinking?
I am. I have red wine in here.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen you drink. I only see me drinking.
Oh yeah, no. Actually, I'm empty.
Oh.
But I have to drive in a minute, so I can't have any more. No, I had, because I opened a bottle on Tuesday when Greg and Kerry were here, And I only had like 2 glasses, so I got plenty left. So I had some now, and I'll have some later when I drive home.
I'll be honest with you. This is my first time drinking in weeks because I haven't really been drinking. This is my first glass of wine. Yeah.
You didn't drink last week when you were over for my birthday?
No, I didn't.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I didn't drink. I haven't been drinking. Just want to, yeah, every now and then you just want to take a break. And then every now and then you just want a glass of wine.
Yes. Yeah, because I haven't had any tequila since the night of my birthday.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
I had, like I said, Tuesday, I had a couple of glasses, and then I'm finishing it now.
Okay, good. What else? So then we see Heather gets up and she does her speech and at the, the fashion show. And she says that, people say that her kids.
I thought that was a great speech.
I did too. That, people say that her kids are lucky to have her and Terry as parents. And she says, no, we're the lucky ones. We have such wonderful kids. And it's true. Like, we're parents. We feel the same way. Even if our kids are assholes sometimes, they're our assholes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I thought that was I thought it was very nice. I think it's a great cause. Alexis goes over to Heather because Emily tells Alexis that she should really try and mend fences with Shannon, and she wants to get Heather's permission before she talks to Shannon. And Heather's like, well, maybe this is the time. Like, there's a lot of love around here. So she gives her blessing. And listen, I don't blame Shannon at all. She's not willing to talk to her. She goes around and she says her goodbyes to everyone. And then she goes to Alexis and said, listen, I heard you want to make peace with me. I just want to let you know I'm not interested.
Yep.
I think it was perfectly fine. I think it was perfectly fine. I don't think she was coming at her. She wasn't yelling. She was very calm about the whole thing. I think it was fine. She was setting her boundaries, and those are her boundaries. And I respect that.
Yep.
I respect it.
Totally agree.
Then Gina and Heather are talking, and Gina feels the pressure. Oh, I told you that already. The ladies are going. Oh, the next is they're going for the bike ride over to the Russian River Vineyard.
Oh.
And Gina's like, oh, we actually have to ride bikes?
I loved every time they drove somewhere, they're like, wait, we're here already? Why didn't we just walk? We're right across the street. They kept driving right across the street. That was so funny.
It was funny because even, I don't know if you remember when Alexis didn't go to dinner, they were having conversation. Oh, she's just going to walk to the event tomorrow. Because everything is right there. It's right on site.
Yeah.
So they get on their bikes. They bike to the vineyard. By the way, that vineyard looks fabulous. Well,
I know.
I think we should look into that for like a girls' trip in Sonoma.
I think we should too.
The Russian River Vineyard.
Yeah.
I would like to maybe even stay at that place with the little.
Yeah, with the little
cottages.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we don't have fancy pants kind of money, so maybe we'll all have to share one and bring in like a rollaway bed or something.
Yeah. I'll sleep on there.
I would like to try it. And I think that's actually where they had the whole conversation.
Yeah.
That's where the conversation. Yeah, it was at the vineyards.
Yeah.
And the last thing I have is really that Gina says the last thing that she needs is someone spreading lies about her. And that's really what is happening. And I agree with her. That is the last thing she needs.
I agree with her too, because listen, Gina's come a long way and she's co-parenting very well with her ex. Her kids seem very well adjusted. And I really do think that her issues with Travis won't fucking get divorced.
Well, he can't. I don't think it's him.
Figure it out.
He can't. I think that it's the ex that's giving him a hard time.
But I thought she came out and said he's the one not signing the papers.
I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
Because even Gina said she feels like she's not supporting him. And it's not because it's not him. It's not him that's holding this divorce up.
Okay.
And that's why she feels so bad. That's why she is so upset that he feels this way, because it's not in his control. And she feels like she should just be standing there supporting him. Even though she is supporting him, she just is doing it from her own home and him in his own home.
Right.
So then what else happens? So we go to Watch What Happens Live, and we'll bring that up. And Alexis is on, and Katie. And their husbands are both sitting in the audience. And Andy asks Alexis why John Jansen wouldn't sign the non-disparagement agreement. And Alexis says, well, ask him. So Andy asks him, and he says, well, because I'm not about to sign away my rights because she's been bad talking me now for years. And Andy's like, well, what has she been bad talking you about? And he's like, well, I'm not going to get into that now. And Alexis is like, well, everything. And then he says, she said that she paid for everything. And what was the other thing he said? There was one other thing he said.
That he fat shamed her.
Fat shamed her, right. And he's like, none of that ever happened.
So here's my thing with that. We now know from listening to Jeff Lewis and other podcasts, Shannon spoke about the size of John Jansen's penis.
Right.
And their good sex life, right?
Right.
It's now well known, that he's very good in bed. Here's your PSA for today, because you know I like to give those. John Jansen. If somebody says that you're really good in bed and you have a large penis, you shouldn't give a shit that she said she had to pay for things for the first 2 years of your relationship. There is no man I know on this earth that would think that what she said about paying things is worse when she said you have a big penis and you're good in bed.
Right.
That trumps everything. Sorry. She wasn't trash talking you. She said that about you. That's
right.
what you guys want.
If anything, she tried to protect him. She didn't want him.
I totally agree.
She did try to protect him.
Look at the lengths she went to the first season Tamra came back. Remember?
Yes.
I think she was so scared because Tamra's such a scumbag. She was so scared that Tamra was going to say the things she's told her about him in confidence as a friend off camera. She was breaking the fourth wall every scene trying to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
He's such a douchebag. All she said was she paid for things the first 2 years of their relationship. There's nothing wrong with that. She was making good money.
Right.
She didn't say for the whole relationship. That's what I've heard, the first 2 years.
Yes. And like we learned on Jeff Lewis, because we talked about this last week, where she said when she was telling Heather that a good friend of hers, when they were recounting the situation, said, well, wait a second. How far away? Like, why didn't he hear it? Because that good friend was Jeff Lewis, who's been to John Jansen's house. He told us that on his podcast.
He did. He did say that.
Yes. And he's good friends with her.
Yes. And always has been.
And he's 100% right. Like,
yes,
why? You know, it doesn't make sense. And John Jansen isn't who he pretends to be.
He's making himself look awful and blaming her.
Yes. And even Jen was on the show, Jeff Lewis show with Mercedes. And Jen I agreed with every single thing Jen said, except for Jen did say that Gina shouldn't have said that to Katie about Heather. But I think she was confused because even when Katie was on Watch What Happens Live, Katie said that she thought that Gina was throwing her under the bus. But when she watched it back, she thought differently.
Yeah, and I think that Jen and Katie have become so close that Jen was just trying to stick up for Katie, but I agree. I think she was just a little confused.
Yes, and I like that Jen and Katie are close. I like those two together. I think that they can be a good best friends like Emily and Gina. I like that. I really do.
I totally agree, and I think that Katie regrets coming in so hot.
Well, she said she did.
Hopefully we get another season with her, and then, we could see. I also don't like the way she talks about her ex-husband, though. So I hope she stops that, too.
It's interesting because we learned a lot about Jen's ex-husband on the Jeff Lewis show also that we didn't know that, they don't communicate at all. And I'll tell you this. She didn't say anything bad about him. She really didn't. She only spoke highly of him. Some of the comments that we got on our social media post, is that maybe Katie has reasons and her daughter has reasons that we don't know about.
Agreed.
And again, I agree with you.
Sign up for the show.
That's it. But we don't. Right. He didn't sign up for the show. So
and we'll probably never know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I thought those were both. I really like Jen. Really, and the more I see Ryan, I like Ryan now. The more I know Jen and the Ryan story, and when Jen was explaining what we thought was happening last year with Tamra, she just was trying to make Jen and Ryan look horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it didn't make sense. Like, none of it made sense. When Jen explained it about the finances and going from one rental to another, she didn't know the rent wasn't being paid.
Right. Right. And she's paying it back. She's taking accountability. Just like Shannon, she's taking accountability. Tamra's just that person that can't admit she's wrong.
She doesn't
And
take
she
accountability.
never, never. So she doesn't even know how to function around people who do.
Yeah, and even not even so much as that. Like, Jen is paying the money back, and her ex is not even paying her.
Right. Right.
He's in arrears already, which, thank God she has Ryan. Thank God she has Ryan.
Right. And Jeff said that. Like, thank God for Ryan. So give the guy some credit.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly cares about her and her kids.
He definitely does. He definitely does. So we did watch What Happens Live. We did Jeff Lewis. We talked a little bit about last week. We mentioned a little bit about Jax and Brittany. And Jax is now living in his own place, and Brittany's back in the house. And they're doing their podcast still, but they're doing it separate weeks. 1 week it'll be Jax, 1 week it'll be Brittany.
Yeah.
And Jack's first episode back, he brought on his life coach / counselor who he got from Jesse. And he kind of gave us a rundown of what was going on while he was in his mental health facility. Mm-hmm. And listen, when you're taking care of yourself, I don't really feel like you need to answer questions. But for whatever reason, he felt like he wanted to give people answers because they were asking about, like, how are you going to the gym? Because normally when you're in a place, like, you can't do that. And how do you have your cell phone? And like, what are you doing?
I'll be honest with you. That shocked me that he had a device. Shocked me.
But again, everyone's situation is different. It's not like he was court ordered to be there.
Right.
It's not. I mean, he keeps maintaining that he was in a mental health facility. Yeah. It's not like he was in there detoxing. And right. You know what I'm saying? Some of these mental health facilities are really counseling for the rich. He paid to go there. He said he paid for this. Yeah. So these are expensive facilities where they're getting like a concierge doctor kind of thing. They're getting, he said, 6 hours of therapy a day.
Right.
So listen, when you're paying that kind of money and you want to have your cell phone, you're going to get your cell phone.
Right. Right.
You want to go to.
It was interesting to me that he admit that he got burned by a prior therapist, where he had obviously disclosed things to her, and I guess she let them out in the media.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, I really hope this woman lost her license and
I hope so
ability
too.
to practice, because that's pretty effed up.
Yep. I hope so too.
Yeah. That was sad to hear for him, because here's a person who really needs therapy, and how the hell is it, and a person like that is not going to trust a therapist. I mean, it's very difficult for a person like that to open up to anybody. So to get burned by one and then, have to restart, and, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Real quick before we go. So Albie Manzo he and his wife had their baby.
Oh, they did?
Son.
Yeah, we knew it was
Albert
a boy.
Joseph Manzo the 5th, and they're going to call him 5.
Oh my God, I love it.
Adorable.
I love it.
Me too. So I'm definitely going to tune into his next podcast to hear all about his first few days as a dad. That was exciting to see. And Jacqueline Larita was on All About TR. Yes. I call it All About the Bullshit, because it is a bunch of bullshit, because you're getting paid by Teresa. And she was going on about how Melissa and Joe would trash talk Teresa to her, and how they would tell her that Teresa really hated her when they were supposed to be friends. And I thought, first of all, this was probably at a point where Jacqueline had written Teresa off, right? Because we all remember that. Mm-hmm. So of course Melissa and Joe are going to complain to you about Teresa. Like, this should be no surprise to anybody. But of course those two babbling fools on All About the Bullshit were like, of course, trash talking Melissa and Joe. And then they said that Teresa really hated her when they were supposed to be friends. I'm thinking, she said it herself, Jacqueline, that the night that they were in California and they were doing the RVs, and she went into Teresa's RV and they made up, supposedly. Mm-hmm. And then when she left, she overheard Teresa, the window was open. She overheard Teresa say to Melissa, "I fucking hate Jacqueline. I'm never going to be her friend again." So what you're you're spinning things to make Melissa and Joe look bad, but we all watched the show. Like, did these two girls from Ohio or wherever the hell they're from not watch the show, or are they just pretending to be stupid?
I don't think they care.
They
I think
don't
that's
care.
They don't care. I don't think they care. And I'm glad you brought the whole New Jersey thing up. So we are still doing the recaps from the very beginning.
Yeah.
We're just kind of sprinkling them in here and there. So don't think we're not going to do them. We're going to be doing that in addition to the OC. And then we have the next one coming out is New York. And then we have Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City is this week. Salt Lake City comes out first.
Okay, so we have Salt Lake and then New York. And then we are also going to be talking about the Hulu special, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So we've got a lot of stuff we're going to be talking about. So don't think we forgot. We have not forgotten. We're just going to be sprinkling stuff in here and there. So just keep listening to us and keep tuned in and comment on our stuff. And we love the feedback. We've been getting some great feedback.
Yeah.
Definitely appreciate that. The other thing I heard on that, I listened to just parts of that episode with Jacqueline and Rita. They asked her about the letter that that Caroline and Dolores wrote for Dina's ex. Did you hear that part of it?
I didn't listen to the podcast. I won't listen to those two.
So I
just
don't
saw
know.
Something on Instagram.
So maybe I saw it on Instagram. Maybe I listened to part of it. But anyway, what she was saying was that she hasn't talked to Caroline about it, but Caroline and Dina were not talking at the time those letters were written, and she doesn't really know what was in them. She thought that they were just character references, and that the family is they didn't think that he was guilty of this. Like, they really didn't think that he did it. They thought it was one of that her ex had hired, meaning Lexi's father. So they didn't think that he was guilty.
Her first ex-husband.
Yes, they thought they did not think that he was involved in this at all. So I think that they were very surprised when it came out that he was found guilty.
Yeah.
Whatever, that bridge had already been burned at that point, which it's sad.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it is sad because, like she said in the beginning, we're family, we're thick as thieves, and they're not. And it's sad. The other thing is Lala had her baby too.
Yes.
Baby Sosa. Baby Sosa.
Yep. I really thought she was going to name her C. S-E-A.
You did?
Well, I thought she'd have an ocean and a sea.
Well, did you hear what Sosa means?
No.
Sosa means salt water.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It means salt water. Yeah. And her mother is going to be filling in for her while she's on maternity leave. So it's going to be on the podcast. So it's going to be her brother and Jessica and her mom.
That's nice.
Yeah, her mom did like an audition interview podcast before Lala had the baby, and it was funny because her and her mom have a really good banter, and I think it's going to be good. I'm going to listen to her mom. I like her mom.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Yeah, she gives good advice.
Her.
Yeah.
For her.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Until next time, keep watching us. Thank you for listening. Give us all the comments. If you could write us some reviews, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.